righty. This is going to be a fun one to talk about. Let's get to it.
Fasten your seatbelts for the realest Eagles and Sixers YouTuber! One who plays no clickbait and gets to the point! The myth, the legend, Nicky Stees! Come to my channel, you know the deal. Yo, boy, always keeps things real. I'm simply statue think they slate, dropping unrealistic man. 2K takes for the clip. Even though cats like that get views closer to the milli, never hear me preach, flip on to Philly. Avoid you watching the Eagles all the way through to early 22. Authentic talk, forget what others do. Come to my channel, you know the deal. Yo, boy, always keep things real. The 24/7, 365 way. Sports content for the reals that feel the day.
Folks, welcome to the Eagles Jaguars Week 9 recap with Nicky Stees. We doing this, as always, on my channel and the Hardcore Sports Network. If anyone's news coming in, make sure to like and subscribe the stream on both platforms and subscribe to both channels. But I'm sure most of y'all by now are used to this. This is going to be an interesting one to talk about. Because on one hand, this was a tale of two games. It was. Now, we went into this game with thinking the Eagles were finally starting to catch on, starting to put up to their potential. And throughout the first half, that's exactly what was happening. Things were going out well. We finally managed to score points in the first quarter. We took advantage of a short field after the fumble on the punt. And we finally got on the board. And then, we did get to a point where we, up 10-0. And then eventually 16-0. We made the extra point to go up 17-0. And then for some, we had Daniel Berry Sports Highlights stopping by as always. Thanks for your support. And we made the extra point, but then there was a penalty on the Jaguars for some peculiar reason. This was the first red flag in the game. Sirianni decides to go for two instead. Why? That was actually the dumbest decision of why not just take the points that they made? You decline, you get the extra point. You don't need the 2-point conversion. You're up 16-0. You're not down by 2. And even then, it's only the first half. You're up 16, but they decide to go for 2. It doesn't work. But then they start off the second half hot. They did have that nice drive there. Dotson had a nice grab, the first big reception of him this season. Hurts gets a run in. Okay, it's 22-0. Let that stupid decision slide. Then they try to go for 2 again. It doesn't work. And then it turns into an entirely different game. Jaguars managed to score, but there was no panic yet. Then the Eagles, the ball gets fumbled. Jaguars score another touchdown. Oh, let's not mention they scored 2 2-point conversions, so it's 22-16 all of a sudden. Just like that, we went from thinking, oh, this team's finally playing up to its potential. Look at the last 2 weeks. And look, they're up 22-0, destroying the Jags. And all of a sudden, the Jags are back into the game. And what did the Eagles do? Get into field goal position. Okay. Valiant made a field goal earlier. Just kick the field goal. But instead, Sirianni goes back to his hack ways and decides to go for it again. And they get stopped. At this point, everyone in the Eagles fan base, we're all thinking the same thing, I'm sure. Here we go again. Sirianni back to the same stupid shit he did. Yes, folks, it's going to be one of those streams. So when I upload to Spotify, there will be the explicit warning, but back to it. He starts the stupid shit he did week 3, it was, against the Saints again. Or you're just going for it when you don't need to. And guess what? After failing twice, when going for 2, you decide to go for it in field goal range and it doesn't work. But fortunately, we're playing the Jaguars. We managed to get a stop. We get the ball back. 2 nice grabs by Devontae Smith. You did have Devontae Smith. Got us that first down on a long reception. And then Fred Johnson, he had himself a rough day. More on that later. Gets a stupid penalty. Backs us up when we're in field goal range. 3rd and 22, though. Oh, the Eagles come through. Devontae Smith has a nice grab in the back of the end zone. Get us the touchdown. 28-16. Now, in this case, I understand 28-16. I understand the whole thing of you'd rather it be 30-16, so you're up by 14. Understandable in this case. But when you've already gone for 2 twice and failed, maybe this time you just take the extra point. I understand if you didn't have those missed 2s earlier, maybe trying to go for 2 to make it a 14-point game. I could understand that. Well, if we didn't have those missed 2-point conversions, it wouldn't be a 12-point game, but that's beside the point, though. Yeah. But if it's a situation where you're a team who didn't miss 2-point conversions, you have a chance to make it from a 12-point lead to a 14-point lead. I understand going for 2. So I understand that situation, but when you already failed twice, why are you going for 2 again? They tried something stupid that did not work. And at this point, we're like, oh my gosh, even though we got this game won, we're finding more reasons to get frustrated than we are to be happy that this team's winning. Even though we just scored a touchdown, mind you, so we should be happy, right? But then guess what happens? We fail to go for 2. But remember, the game's not over yet. The Jaguars did score 16 points in just no time to make it a game. So not exactly confident we're going to put the game away yet. Then the Jaguars go down the field. They get more points. But then in the end, Nakobe Dean saves the day. Hallelujah! Nakobe Dean saves the day. Interception. He gets to celebrate with the crowd. And we escape with the win, 28-22. So you know what? At least we didn't lose to the Jaguars, thank goodness. We won. Let's at least be happy with that. We got the win against the Jaguars. But it was a tale of 2 games, as I just illustrated, and as you guys that watched the game saw. First half, it was looking like the same team that dominated the Giants and Bengals, which we should be because it's an ease, considering the Jaguars have struggled. And if we're supposed to be a contender in the NFC, we should be winning this game easy to submit ourselves. Same way the Lions dominated the Titans and the Cowboys. We should be dominating, which we did, but then we almost let them off the hook, as the late Dennis Green once said, and we got cute a little too much. So it wasn't the most pleasant win in the world. It wasn't. Even though it's a win, we're 6-2. We'll take the W, but Nick Sirianni, even after 4 straight wins, I'm still talking about this guy. And I know I'm not alone. I know if I leave, as soon as I go off, if I go listen either live or on the replay to Joey Shakes or Desert Eagle 90 or Cool Cat Connor or anybody that's doing something live or watching a replay of their live stream, anyone, Lord Brunson, anybody, Chalk It Up Sports, Tone to Shields, anybody in the Eagles base, they're all going to have something to say about the play calling and the poor decision making. And rightfully so, because even with this win, some of the play calling was just so stupid. See, this is why I can't take the Eagles as Super Bowl contenders. Because they get in their way too much. And it nearly happens in this one too. Like I said, they going for 3 different times. The first 2 times, the first one was the dumbest of the 3. Because you made the extra point, decline the freaking penalty, and just take the extra point. You don't need to go for 2. Like, what type of decision is that? Seriously, that's the dumbest decision since the Patriots deferred in overtime against the Jets back in 2015 when Eric Decker caught the game winner. But seriously, that's the dumbest coaching decision since then. Passing that extra point to go for 2 when you were already winning by shutout. That was the first red flag in Sirianni's decision-making. That's like, oh, here we go again. He's going right back to his old hackery ways, trying to be cute when you don't need to be. And then he did it again, going for 2 a second time when it didn't work the first time. Because 24-0 looks sexier on the scoreboard. That's what it's all about, right? If anyone is wondering, maybe not. Water with lemon. Now you can't really see it much. Green screen's getting in the way. But let's get back to the game. Forget about that. And just, all those stupid decisions right there. 3 failed 2-point conversions, failed 4th down. And the fans, it's just Sirianni. That's why I don't trust this team as contenders, because he's just getting in his own way again with ridiculous play calling. In a game, mind you, Jalen Hurts didn't have any turnovers. He actually put together a solid performance. Saquon Barkley had an excellent game. So this isn't like weeks from 2 and week 4 where you could look at Jalen Hurts' performance and also criticize that. This time, it's pretty much the thing that it's pretty much all on Sirianni, the negative aspect of this game at least. But to be fair, I don't want to go too hard on him because we did win. There's still a lot of positive as well. But I figured let's talk about the Sirianni stuff and get it out the way before we put more praise on the positive. So let's just get the negative out the way first. Yeah, that's why I'm talking about Sirianni in depth now. But it's the same old stupid play calling. Just get out of your own way. Stop trying to be cute. He's trying to feed his ego. Now, look, we understand in life people have ego. We all do. Every walk of life. You have family members. Some of us ourselves have struggles with ego. At your jobs, in whatever industry you work in, you're going to have egotistical people there. Sports is no different in that regard. But long story short, Sirianni is letting his ego get in the way. He's trying to make all these fancy play calls that he hopes will work so he can give himself a pat on the back, but it's not working. Instead of trying to force play calls that are fancy to try to take credit for it, he needs to realize it doesn't work when he does that. He doesn't realize actually sticking with the common sense approach, going with the basics, he'll actually get more credit for it. It'll actually look better on his resume if they stick with the basics. Don't try to get too cute. Don't try to get greedy with the play calling and force plays. It works in your favor. And there were some of those mistakes. But that's why, I have my concerns in the long term about Sirianni still. Now, on the other hand, to be fair, this wasn't all negative. Because, well, for starters, we won. But even then, even with us letting the Jaguars back in the game, there were still positives to talk about for this game. So now, I'll leave that Sirianni rant behind me. Now let's talk about the positives. Saquon Barkley had himself another hell of a game. 27 carries, 159 yards on the ground. 3 receptions, 40 yards in the passing game. 2 combined touchdowns. And that was a hell of a game by Saquon. Excellent game. So bravo to Saquon Barkley. Credit to the Eagles play callers for actually feeding Saquon the ball. You had 27 carries for Saquon. Jalen Hurts took off 13 times, including 1 for a touchdown. So we focused heavily on the run. And we did lean toward, and then we only threw 24 times. So we actually let the run set up the pass. So that was good. And Saquon Barkley did his thing, and Jalen Hurts had a good game too. I got to give him props. he 18 for 24. I mean, he didn't throw any interceptions. He did throw 2 touchdowns. So, and he had that rushing touchdown. So, hey, bravo. Those are my 2 offense players of the game. But I also give Devontae Smith an honorable mention because he had 2 excellent catches on that drive that gave us 28, which put us ahead and helped us win the game. So that catch in the back of the end zone, phenomenal. That catch that put us in field goal range, excellent. So I'll give Devontae Smith an offensive honorable mention. On the defensive side of the ball, hey, Zach Bond had himself a solid game. Had 7 tackles and a few deflections. He had an INT as well. So good outing there. Also, hey, Nakobe Dean, hey, credit, he got the game-sealing INT. We didn't have to worry about possibly letting the Jaguars come back and win this game, so they get credit there. We did what we needed to. Josh Sweat had 2 sacks. So, all right, we had some positive there. Now, it was only 2 sacks, but you know what? But it worked. And we kind of were lucky we were playing the Jaguars too but you know what? We'll take it any way we can get it. We still got 2 interceptions. Zach Bond had a solid game. We still did enough to get the win. And don't get me wrong, like I said, there were plenty of positives. We did lean toward the run. We didn't try to force the pass necessarily. Although at times the play calling, like I said, they're going for 2, all that. I talked about that enough in this one. But there were positives to take away from this game. So we got the wins. We had pretty much 4 games on the schedule that were easier games after a 2-2 start. And we won them all. So that's the good news. We're 6-2. Now, normally 6-2 would be a positive. We'd look at it and be like, hell yeah, son, we 6-2, baby. That would normally be the case. But if it weren't for the shadow of last year lurking over us as Eagles fans, when we were 10-1, yeah, so even though it's 6-2, we know there is the possibility that could happen. But now our schedule actually gets harder from here. It starts to, even with the Cowboys. Now, the Cowboys looks like this should be an easy game this time around. But, number one, we got to factor, it's at AT&T Stadium. We haven't had a lot of good luck over there. Man, we haven't beaten them at AT&T Stadium since 2017, now that I think about it. Because we lost 2018 in OT. 2019, they blew us out. 2020, we got blown out late in the season, which was when my first vid over 100 views was recorded after that game. We lost to them Monday night, 2021. We lost to them on Christmas Eve, 22. We lost to them last year, which was the second game in the losses during our collapse late in the season. So even though the Cowboys look like an easy matchup, we haven't beaten them in AT&T since 2017 on that Sunday night game. Remember? During our Super Bowl run, when they were down Ezekiel Elliott, we were down a kicker, but we kept going for 2 and we converted. I know that's old news, but yeah, we haven't beaten them in AT&T in a while. So that's the one thing that has me worried about the Cowboys next week is we haven't beaten them there since 2017. And then after that, you got even with that being said, Cowboys aren't the team we're used to seeing. So we could finally snap that streak and get a win at AT&T. And hi, Butterfly in the building. What's up? It's been a long time since I've seen Butterfly in the chat. One of my streams. I did see you in the Pick and Roll podcast. Yeah, and is it Cowboys? Are you kidding me as a fan? Yeah, I know. It's definitely not optimistic for you guys. And next week, it should be an easy matchup for us against the Cowboys. But the only thing is, any division rival game, there's always a chance. And secondly, we haven't had a lot of luck on the road against the Cowboys. Last time we beat them there was 2017. But even then, that's still a winnable game. But it could be more competitive than people think. So, it's favorable. But considering what happened today, who knows? But then again, that could just be because the recent game's still a little fresh in my mind, particularly the finish. But we'll see. Cowboys game. Yeah, that should be a win, but as Butterfly commented, you never know. Then after that, we got to play the Commanders. That's actually going to be a challenging game on Thursday night, the 14th. Then we got the Rams on the 24th. And now that the Rams got their weapons back, we saw last week against the Vikings they won. And what happened? What happened today? Let me just see. Did the Rams beat the Seahawks? Or if anyone wants to comment in the chat, I should have had this known by now, but oh, yes, the Rams did beat the Seahawks in overtime. But now that the Rams actually have their weapons back, that could be a more challenging game than we would have thought a few weeks ago. So you got the Cowboys. Should be a win, but it could be challenging because, Cowboys usually play up against the Eagles, especially at AT&T. They got the Commanders. We know that's going to be a tough game. The Rams might be better than their record suggests now that they're getting healthy again. And then you got the Ravens on December 1st. And then, so these three of these next four games are going to be challenging games at least, possibly all four. So even though we're 6-2, it's like, yeah, but now the road gets tougher from here. We'll have to see where the Eagles go forward. And remember, two of those four wins weren't the prettiest wins in the world, being the first one against the Browns and the one that just got finished a few hours ago in the Jaguars. So now we're going up against tougher teams. Now we're going to see how far this Eagles team has really come along, especially through November. We're going to see if this Eagles team's really turned the quarters, particularly against the Commanders, Rams, and Ravens. So that's what you got to look forward to. Well, actually, Ravens is December 1st, but we'll just put that 4-game stretch together. Because then after those 4 games, you got the Panthers. So then you get back to an easy matchup. But yeah, we survived. We survived it. We won all 4 of the easier games on our schedule before it picks up a little bit. Even with the Cowboys being they are a struggling team, but it's not as easy as it suggests. Like I said, with the division rivalry factor there. And the Cowboys like to sometimes play up to their abilities against the Eagles. So even then, you never know. But we'll talk about that more later in the week. But for now, though, yeah, we won these games. I mean, today it's crazy because in the first half, if you would ask me, hey, how confident are you about the Eagles going forward? I said, more confident than I was going into the bye. But after the second half, my confidence in this team took a little bit of a hit. It did. But, man, hey, we're still 6-2 and we're still in contention, though. But so we'll see where it goes from here. But any note, I'm just happy we got the win, man. At least we did that. We didn't lose to the Jaguars because that would have been absolutely embarrassing. And to be fair, that Jaguars near comeback might have saved Doug Peterson's job. And not that I'm necessarily wishing anyone to get fired, but it would have been ironic if Peterson got fired after this game. Like, if we would have just played as well in the second half as we did in the first, and we would have blown him out like 45-3, Peterson may have gotten fired, which would have been ironic that he get fired after losing a game on the road in Philly. I mean, he still could. I doubt it. But yeah, that second half performance may have saved his job just one more week over there in Jacksonville. But on a serious note, though, yeah, the Jaguars, we're going to put the Jaguars behind us. Just be glad we got the win. I do want to say on another positive note, hey, LaShawn McCoy is officially a member of the Eagles Hall of Fame. At least, I mean, I don't know if he would necessarily be proud of our performance as a team, but at least we didn't choke away the game. At least we didn't choke away the game and lose in embarrassing fashion. That's the one positive here. Because, I would have been mad. I would have been calling him out for letting LaShawn McCoy down. But let's not harp on ifs. We did get to at least win for Shady. Shady gets officially inducted in the Eagles Hall of Fame. That's the nice part about this game. So, give me one moment. I'm going to do a quick cheers to the Eagles win. One moment. Alrighty, cheers. Now, this green screen's kind of messing me up. You guys aren't going to really see it, so. Cheers. Great win. All right, it's good. We got the win. Now let's move on. Bring the Cowboys next. I feel like I'm done rambling on. All I'm going to say is, Doug Peterson, if you have your job tomorrow, it might be because of some of the poor decision making in the second half. But you still lost again, and I don't think you're going to last the rest of the season there, Dougie P. I mean, thanks for the Super Bowl win. Always appreciate that. But you know what? We really don't need you. And looking back on it now, and as we said, yeah. And as you see, Dak is horrible, yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely. You're right. Dak Prescott does not look like the same quarterback without some of those weapons around him. It's funny. We went into the season thinking Dak was still a decent quarterback, but without the same offense around him, he looks flat. And we're not even sure if he's going to play in the Eagles game yet. So we'll have to see. And now that's right, Dak got injured. Thanks for bringing that up, Butterfly, because now I think about it, yeah, you're right. And Dak got injured, so we don't even know yet if he's going to play. I mean, we'll know closer to Friday, but yet we don't know. Kind of crazy. Yeah. Dude. So we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, Dak Prescott, man. And now here come the jokes. Dak is best at throwing interceptions. Yep. I mean, holy smokes. I mean, now we're talking about it. Let's talk about that for a minute. I mean, holy smokes. I mean, I didn't think the Cowboys were going to be as good a team. I mean, week 1, Dak looked solid, but that was against the Browns. And I mean, I still thought Dak would at least be better than what he's showing. I didn't expect him to be great, but oh my gosh, the last couple weeks. I mean, this Cowboys team's not the same team. Even when they were 3-2, when they barely beat the Giants and narrowly beat the Steelers, I'm still like, yes, this team's 3-2, but I'm not impressed. And now you see why with the way things are going. I mean, look, I'm going to take and now that we're not even sure if he's going to play, they might have to go with Cooper Rush. I mean, clearly Dak Prescott, not the same QB. I mean, you still got CeeDee Lamb over there, but he's their best target you got. Outside of that, I mean, Jake Ferguson, decent tight end, but what else do you really have? Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Dak, you're right. Because the way he's played this season, some of these key games, he hasn't exactly set the tone for that team to dominate. And yeah, then Dak is overpaid. Yep, that's the obvious part right there. He was overpaid even when he got that big contract. Even if that 2021 season they won the division, it's still, you knew even then he was overpaid. And then even 22, they made the playoffs again. Still, you're like, this guy's overpaid. And now you see for sure that he was a product of having the right team around him. And I said back in 2022, I felt if you switched Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott, I thought Hurts would have done better with the Cowboys in 2022 than Dak with the Eagles, back when both teams had talented offenses. The point being is I wasn't sold on Dak as this elite quarterback. But yeah, but now that Butterfly mentioned, we talked about it for a bit. We'll have to see if he's even going to play next week. But yeah, things are certainly looking up on the up for us against the Cowboys, but that's next week. We'll see what happens. For now, hey, we got the W. Also, got to point out Washington did get the W. They swept the Giants on the season. So all those Daniel Jones having Washington's number, those are things of the past. Yeah, he had their number when they were a poor team, but now that they finally getting a real team going over there down in DC area, yeah, not exactly not whatchamacallit, Daniel Jones 2-game field day anymore. But that's another thing. Washington winning something we got to watch out for, man, because we got, after the Cowboys, we got the Commanders. But for me as an Eagles fan, like I said, we keep on winning, and that including the Commanders game. We don't got to worry about what record they finish. We know they're a good team, and we respect that. We understand, even with our flaws, Eagles, Commanders, the two best teams in the NFC East right now. But hey, I did feel it was necessary to point out, and at least give the Cowboys props. Or not the Cowboys, I'm sorry, give the Commanders props on having a good season. They're finding ways to win games. Even with an easy schedule, hey, you win games any way you can. So we'll leave it at that. Eagles and Commanders, the top two teams in the NFC East at the end of this week. Eagles get the dub. Let's do the fly, Eagles fly. And to everyone, and we'll end this off on this note. To everyone that tunes in, as always, I appreciate your support. So thanks for stopping by and supporting the channel. I hope you enjoyed this. Enjoy the rest of your night or day if you're catching it on the replay Monday. So as always, thanks for your support. Fly, Eagles, fly. Until next time, your boy Nicky Stees signing off. And like Butterfly said, Dak is getting the MRI tomorrow, so we'll talk about that probably on Tuesday when I do my NFL week recap, and once we know what the extent of the injury is. So that being said, as always, thanks to everyone for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed. Till next time, Nicky Stees signing off. Fly, Eagles, fly, and peace.